Hello, it is Wednesday, March 23rd, 2022. I'm Chris Remo, and welcome back to the New York Times Crossword Daily Solve. Now, as warned, this is going up much later in the day than I usually release because I'm in a different time zone. And I also seem to be in some kind of washed out lighting zone. I tried to fix this. I couldn't figure out any way to do it, so I'm sorry about that. You'll have to deal with me looking like some kind of ghost, albeit a ghost with my first professional haircut since before the pandemic began. So at least there's that. And today, I would like to thank a couple of people for bringing us this edition of the Daily Solve. I would like to thank Jordan Larson, Michael H., and as always, the inestimable Hood Monster, benefactors of the Daily Solve Patreon campaign. So thank you so much to the three of them for their generous support, making this series and channel a sustainable part of my daily work. And thank you to everybody who has backed the Patreon campaign at any level. For that, you get access to the full suite of bonus recordings that have gone up on the Patreon channel to date, as well as the new ones that go up each week. And I'll have to find some time this week to record the most recent Boswords Spring Themeless League competition puzzle. Looking forward to that when I'm able to do it. And that'll go up. Assuming I get it done, it'll go up on Saturday once the solution has been posted, so it's no longer a spoiler. And I think that's all to mention. So let's get on to today's crossword. This is a Wednesday crossword, of course. So themed puzzle, maybe a little bit of a step up in difficulty from the last couple of days. And it was constructed by Barbara Lynn, who has done a handful of New York Times crosswords, about half a dozen perhaps, edited, as always, by Will Shorts. So let's go. And because I'm on my laptop, for whatever reason, I don't know why that's different, but because I'm on a different computer, I seem to have the new style privacy veil screen. Don't know why. Anyway, so ready to get going. Okay, or as this screen phrases it, play. Okay, quite dry, but still sparkling. Oh, no, didn't say still. Why did I say that? Quite dry, but still sparkling. No, just quite dry, but sparkling. Presumably this refers to a dry, sparkling wine? Cava, maybe? Not sure. Let's check the crosses. Cookouts for short. Could be barbecues, so not cava, probably. Cad. So cad could be a, scoundrel, that sort of figure. What about this? Bona fide. Is that an E or an A? Why do I not remember that? Like whatever comes after, how should I put this? Like whatever comes after, how should I put this? I'm not sure what does that mean? Is it sort of suggesting that it's likely to be critical or tentative, perhaps? I'm not sure. Oh, cad could be a roue, perhaps. It's another word for that sort of scoundrel figure, a rascal. Flip. Oh, and flip is in all capital letters. Now, what does that mean? I suspect this will be related to the theme. Flip. Not sure what that's suggesting just yet. We'll have to come back to it. Altercation. A set to? Is that what you could call a sort of fight? I'm not certain. What about this? Newton, for one. Could be a unit of... I know that a Newton is a unit used in physics, although I can't recall precisely what. A unit of force of some sort, presumably. Oh, quite dry but sparkling. Brut. So, right, that would refer to a dry sparkling wine in this case. And I'm very curious about this flip situation. Let's just keep going through the crossword. We'll get there. Swallow or duck. Each of those is a bird, so perhaps that's what we're looking for here. And again, it's an or clue, so it'll be singular. Boy, I was really hoping the camera would get accustomed to me over time and calm down a bit, but no such luck. Sorry about that. Dynamite boy band. I'm not sure. I'm wondering if this is BTS, perhaps, the Korean boy band, maybe? That's my guess, since it's 3 letters and starts with a B. So let's check the crosses there. Proven. And it could be true, perhaps. If something's been proven, it's true. Part of a nest egg, in brief. In the United States, this could be an IRA, an individual retirement account. Equivalent in the UK would be an ISA, an individual savings account. Word that may definitely, sorry, a word that may defiantly, maybe defiantly rhymed with schmool. Sorry, I'm on a very small screen, and the words are very small for me, so I sometimes struggle when I'm on this remote setup. Schmool, rule, schmool, as in rules, schmools, I suppose. And intensify, it could be to deepen something. So what is this? Flip. Quilt sale? What does that mean? Don't know. Caffeine nut. Is it the cola nut? Itsy bitsy biter. A flea, perhaps. Magazine that sponsors Women in Hollywood Awards. I'm guessing Elle magazine. And home to more than 2,300 languages. Asia, possibly. Seems pretty likely, I would say. So this altercation does look like a set too, doesn't it? What was this again? Like, whatever comes after, how should I put this? Oh, I just don't know what that is. Oh, and here we have another theme clue. This says flip flop. Oh, that's interesting. So here this is quick sale. Quick sale. Oh, to flip. I see. So to flip something you've purchased, you buy something, flip it, you're going to quickly sell it to hopefully realize a speedy return. Oh, so how should I put this? I see, tactful. Right, that makes sense. So we're saying, how should I put this? Because you're considering how you are going to phrase a potentially difficult comment with tact. I see. Right, and so here we have flip-flop. Well, if not for this U, I would have thought this maybe said sandals or something like that, because flip-flops can be a term for sandals, but tactful does seem likely, doesn't it? So what about this? Metonym for the U.S. Congress with the hill. So a metonym is a word that can describe something by referring to its location, right? So in this case, Capitol Hill, the hill used as a metonym for the U.S. Congress. Zoom window. Zoom window. I'm not sure. What about this? Verdi opera set in ancient Egypt. Well, that is Aida. That's what that is. And it's a piece of cake. Exclamation point. It's a piece of cake. A slab, maybe? I'm not sure. So the exclamation point here, I think, means this is probably going to be, well, for one thing, it means it's describing the answer rather than defining it. So it would just say, without that exclamation point, presumably, this clue would just say piece of cake rather than it's a piece of cake. When the constructor wants to do something like this, where it's a common phrase or something like that would be said about the thing in question, often they'll add that exclamation point to allow them to put in this sort of cuter clue. Anyway. Flip-flop. It is sandal. Look at that. It just goes in a different place. So a flip-flop is a casual sandal. There we go. That works perfectly well. And Zoom window. Oh, the chat window inside a Zoom video conference instance, I suppose, will have a chat window. So that's what that is. And then this does look like a slab of cake, doesn't it? And then, yes, mathematician Lovelace, Ada Lovelace. That's correct. She was a pioneering computer scientist. And then verboten is taboo, something you don't talk about. Okay, so Cheney in the house. Liz Cheney is a congressperson on the Hill, actually. So there we've got Hill, U.S. Congress Hill flowing directly into congressperson Liz Cheney. And culture that introduced popcorn to the world must be the Aztecs. I do know that maize or corn was really introduced by the people of that general region, so that would make sense. And rock band that memorably played Carnegie Hall on 2/12/1964, February 12th, 1964, with the Beatles, I suppose. Okay. And third shot for many. I'm not sure. What about this? Big name in chips. Lay's is a uh, potato chip producer in the United States. Crisps in the UK. Polish off could be eat. Polish something off, you eat it. And make one's mark in a way could be to etch. Flip-flop. Here we go. So another one of these. Something about cycling, flipping back and forth, perhaps. What about this? Third shot from any right. I saw that. And polling subject would be an opinion. Pollster could check an opinion. Policy change. There we go. That is often used in political coverage to discuss a change in policy. I think in the US that's often called a flip-flop. In the UK, it's more likely to be referred to as a U-turn for whatever reason. Just a thing I have observed. Fancy pillowcase. A sham, I think. Isn't that what you call a sort of decorative pillowcase? A sham pillow or a sham pillowcase? Listen, hark, you might say. The herald angels sing. Time for tailgating. Game day. You could have a tailgate party at out in front of a sports stadium, for instance. Goal of philanthropy. Gift, or that doesn't really seem correct. Why do I not see what that is? I'm not sure. What about this? Light element. And I wonder if that means light as in physics. So light, what is currently completely blinding me apparently and washing out my face, or if it means something else. Light as in a weight, lightweight. Not sure. For elements with a low atomic weight, for instance. I don't know. One of a pair in the mule family. I'm not sure what this is getting at. Is it getting at the animal or maybe category of cocktail like a Moscow Mule or one of its variants? Probably not that. It does have a question mark though, which is interesting. So there's some sort of pun or wordplay going on. A pro or con. Here we have one of the Manning brothers. Now I've heard of them. They're American football players. Eli Manning is one I've certainly heard of. And what else do we have? Oh, I haven't seen. Oh, right. So there's an entire corner of the grid I've not seen at all. Instrument with 47 strings and 7 pedals. A harp, I would think. And the different pedals will change the sort of tuning of the different strings. Any harpists, if I just said something unbelievably stupid, I'm sure will correct me. With a chip on one's shoulder. Something, Lee. I mean, it looks like an adverb. I mean, with a chip on one's shoulder is sort of cynically, or when you have a chip on your shoulder, your ideals have been a bit worn away, I suppose. What is that? What adverb does that correspond to? I'm not sure. Challenging soprano pieces, say. Could be arias. So an aria meaning a piece in an opera such as Aida. Where was that? Oh, my mouse isn't working. There it is. Such as Aida. That is a featured... And generally we'll have a featured singer, so could be a particularly challenging piece. Kindled anew, relit perhaps a fire. Prepares potatoes. So prepares, so you're going to prepare the potatoes. Could be preps as in kitchen prep. And the question mark indicates that we're doing something a little bit punny with that prepares. Hummus, e.g. This doesn't look very much what I would have expected for hummus, which is a chickpea-based dip. What? Not sure. I'm probably missing something obvious. Paperless return option. So this could be a tax return, which the IRS, the Internal Revenue Service in the U.S., refers to as an e-file if you do it online. So there's an E word that I must accept because it is officially what the U.S. government calls this option. Flop, feels there's something here may be incorrect, but let's keep looking. Volunteers. And many a swing voter could be independent voters, not aligned to a particular political party. Oh, volunteers enlists. Okay, well that does look right, actually. And what about this? With a chip on one shoulder. Oh, huffily, I see. That's fair enough. So you're not entering into whatever it is you're doing in good grace. You're being very huffy about it. Oh, a hummus is a puree. So, oh, I see. So this potatoes thing isn't preps, it's peels. Oh, that's interesting. So, yeah, I guess they just really wanted that pre-pairs pun in there because paring potatoes is peeling them. The pre doesn't really have anything to do with it. It's peeling them regardless of whether it's done in advance or whether it's a pre option. But they just wanted that pre-pairs thing, so fair enough. Hummus, e.g., is puree. Place to play dodgeball informally is what? Well, flop, oh, I see, an epic fail. So this looks strange. Place to play dodgeball inform. Oh, I see, PE class, physical education class. There we go. All right. So I was trying to make that a single word. It is not. And that's what the informally is doing there. The informally is saying there's some kind of abbreviation or contraction or other type of informal speech. And in this case, it's PE for physical education. Matches up could be synchronizes. Pro or con, I see, is a side. And one of a pair in the mule family. A clog? I think this is terminology with which I might not be completely familiar. And light element, oh, neon. Oh, okay, so I think it actually was an element of the periodic table after all. I didn't expect it to be that, but I'm glad that I considered it might have been. Oh, and the goal of philanthropy is good, to do good. Okay, fair enough. And then clog, all right? So let's finish off this puzzle. We have third shot for many. Not sure what that is. And then Dr. Montgomery on Grey's Anatomy. I've never seen Grey's Anatomy, unfortunately. So this could be a given name. It could be a medical specialist subject, maybe. I'm not sure. Flip, here we have doesn't buy, say. Could be rents. If you don't buy a home, for instance, you could rent it, or a car. Flare up, question mark. So another bit of pun or wordplay. And then single bed, curiously, it is indeed a strange bit of terminology that I don't think this is true everywhere, but in the US, a single bed is referred to as a twin bed. And cause for a run, maybe. A snag, maybe you could snag your sort of hose and that could cause a run. ASICS competitor. Oh, this is a shoe manufacturer, footwear manufacturer. Is it Avia, maybe? I'm not sure. Flare up. Oh, could be a nova, maybe. As in the astrological event. Is that astronomical event? Is that true? Oh, here we have Andrew, who ran for president and mayor of New York City. Andrew Yang. Two separate posts. President of the United States and mayor of New York City, not president and mayor of New York City. So I think this must be Avia. And then could this be snag? Flop would be something down. Maybe you flop down on the bed, for instance. Let's see. Wordlessly agree could be nod. And Emmy-winning actress Aduba. I'm not sure, as I often am not, about showbiz people in these crosswords. A curved line over a series of notes in sheet music. It could be a slur. So a curved line connecting two notes means, it could mean two different things depending on if the notes are the same note or a different note. But if they're different notes, it would mean you slur them sort of together. So you try and make them run together as opposed to playing them very distinctly. Oh, plonk down, maybe flop or plunk down, something like that. Drink of Athens. Oh, ouzo, right? The liqueur. And stepped could be trod. And where the cool kids go. Where the cool kids go. What does that mean? Oh, the in spot, maybe. Is that right? That seems right. And flip. Not sure about this one still. What about this? Dr. Montgomery. Oh, right. Yeah, okay, I don't know. Just move right on. Blank roll. Brit's term for toilet paper. Okay, well, loo roll. is what you call toilet paper in the UK, and then similarly kitchen roll, as opposed to, more commonly anyway than paper towels for the kitchen equivalent. Loo roll and kitchen roll. Flip. Coin toss. Coin toss. We'll flip a coin toss. There we go. All right. So what about this? Make a knot. I don't know. Remove the K? What does that mean? We have a question mark, so some kind of pun or wordplay going on. And so is this plank down, plonk down, plunk down? Emmy-winning actress Aduba. I think this is most likely to be Azo or Azo, plank down, flop. We'll save that for the end of the crossword, just in case. Education professional. A teacher, a prof, a tutor. There we go. So I had to keep thinking of synonyms until we got it. And third shot for many. Now, what is this? Oh, a booster shot, right, of a vaccine. Okay, this is something where many of us are familiar with these days. Okay, so there we have that. Less than right could be an acute angle. So fewer than 90 degrees would be an acute angle. Food with a hole. A donut has a hole. So do I. And then what is this? Dr. Montgomery. Oh, Addison, I guess, probably. So do I. Did too, maybe? That's interesting. If so, I don't make a knot. Undie. Untie. Oh, ditto. Right. It's not. Okay. Yes. Sorry. Did too wouldn't even fit here because we need an extra O for that too. So to make a knot, to make it not a knot anymore, you would untie it. And then so do I would be ditto. Famed English boarding school is Eton, which has come up actually a few times in the crossword recently. And so yeah, we're just left with this cross, which this is sort of surprise. This is each day this week, actually, I think we've had at least one tricky cross involving proper nouns. And while this PL space NK down is not a proper noun, I do think it is plausible to have several different letters and still essentially maintain its meaning. Plank down, plonk down, and plunk down. Maybe plunk least likely of those, but I mean, I do think I've heard all of those before. Plunk down, maybe plunk down isn't the most. I'm going to plunk down my money. Flop. Boy, this is a surprisingly difficult choice. Okay, well, there you go. It was you. All right, we can. Oh, right, I forgot this new look window here. It says "Admire your puzzle." So strange that I only get this on my laptop. It's very odd. Let's admire our puzzle. Yeah. So that was a surprising cross to me, because proper nouns are always a little bit tricky because obviously names just don't necessarily follow the most common conventions of English spelling. Obviously, English spelling has infinite exceptions, but it's much easier to be broadly familiar with, I think, the exceptions in non-proper nouns in English spelling and vocabulary than it is to be aware of everyone's potential name. And so that's what makes proper nouns much more difficult when they cross each other. But in this case, we have this interesting case in which I really do think this plunk down could have been plonk down, for instance. Maybe plank down, the more I think about it. Maybe that's actually the least likely one, plank down. I don't necessarily know that's... Yeah, it's just interesting. I could be completely wrong about that. It may be the case that none of those are appropriate fills, and only this one is. But I found that a little bit tricky. Anyway, there we have it. So let's look at our different meanings, our different instances of flop and flip-flop. So here we had flip, a quick sail. Flop, an epic fail. So we had flip, flop, and then flip-flop, casual sandal. And then we had another flip-flop is a policy change. A flip is a coin toss, and a flop, to flop is to plunk down. So I think these were all symmetrical, in fact. Oh no, interesting. So, this is actually, it's even more clever than if it were more obviously symmetrical. So the symmetrical positions of quick sail and plunk down are flip and flop. So they make a flip-flop, and they're symmetrically disposed about this diagonal axis, if you see what I mean. And then our epic fail and our coin toss are also, they're mirrored in their positions in the puzzle. They're symmetrically disposed, and they also spell out flip-flop. And then we have two more, casual sandal and policy change, and they each match the full flip-flop phrase, the flip-flop phrase. So there we have it. It's a relatively gentle theme. One of the, well, yeah, I suppose you don't need to necessarily determine anything in order to solve the puzzle, because in theory, these could have been phrased, these clues could have been formatted with ordinary capitalization. They didn't need to be all caps. They're just that way to emphasize the theme and to tie them together into one subject. But they would have been maybe slightly withholding clues, but they're all valid clues for these answers. And so it's not a theme that we have to unpack in order to solve the puzzle. It's just a theme that ties the puzzle together in a nice symmetrical way. So there we have it. That's the crossword by Barbara Lynn for Wednesday, March 23rd. And now, so it's a little more difficult on this setup. There we go. I have raised the spoiler wall so we can discuss a few clues from yesterday's puzzle. I think I only have two. So Michelle McBride-Charpentier points out you didn't refer to at as a verb, so the at sign used as a verb, which was one of the clues, and I didn't quite know what it meant, and then the answer was tag, and he's right, I completely forgot to return to it. So Michelle says, I might be too online or too old to fully accept this. The only example I can think of seeing in the wild is the ironic don't at me, don't at sign me, following some intentionally provocative statement or joke. But I read this as don't at me, because to me, tag is a more passive inclusion, like tagging friends in photos on Facebook. Because it's just 3 letters, I have never seen anyone use the at sign when they can just say tag. And then Joachim Hitzku follows up to say, I see what you mean, but in my opinion, tag is totally fine as a verb for at. As you said, people do often more say don't at me than don't tag me, but that ultimately means the same thing, at least to me. I'd also consider myself a bit too online, but for me, the don't at me has always been a written form of don't at me with the sign. Yeah, so that's interesting. I have not really heard people say don't tag me using the at, but I suppose that the clue might be saying it's not so much that you would literally say don't tag me, it's that what you're saying with that at is tag. What you mean by it is tag. And this comes from, I think, Twitter. This, I think, really specifically comes from Twitter vocabulary, in which referring to another person with their username and the at sign in front of it will actually tag them in the post, so that will draw their attention to it, as opposed to just mentioning them in a sort of silent or private way. So there's that. And I have one other, I believe. Yes. So this wasn't an answer to my question, but Brian D. just, with respect to my asking about why C was part of the alphabet song as opposed to just being part of the alphabet in general, Brian didn't answer that. I still found that a baffling clue, but he did point out the word alphabet comes from mashing alpha and beta, the first 2 letters of the Greek alphabet, together. So alpha, beta, yes. But the thing I didn't know is that Brian said there's a much rarer synonym of alphabet, abecedary, Abecedary, which comes from mashing A, B, and C together and trying to pronounce them. So there you go. We have the alphabet, or as some call it, perhaps, the abecedary. And that's all I have from yesterday's puzzle. So that's that. Yes. Thank you for joining me for this Wednesday crossword. I'm sorry it's going up much later than usual. It'll probably be that way for the rest of the week. But I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you join me tomorrow for the Thursday puzzle with some kind of more clever theme. We'll just have to see, but most likely. And by clever, I don't mean that this one wasn't. I just mean tomorrow's will be more probably involved and complicated, as Thursdays tend to be. And if you've not yet subscribed to this channel, please do. And if you're new, if this is maybe your first or one of your first videos you've seen, do subscribe. And then you will be, I was going to say confronted with, that's sort of aggressive, but you will be presented with these videos as they are posted each day. And if you think you know somebody who might enjoy them, do pass them along as well. I appreciate it when people do that because word of mouth is really the only tool I have to spread the word. So thank you to everybody who's done so. And of course, thank you to everybody who has supported the Patreon campaign at any level for any length of time. Very much appreciate that as well. All right, I will be back tomorrow for the Thursday puzzle. I hope you're here as well. But until that point, please do have an excellent remainder of your Wednesday. Take care.